Hey Hatchlings, it's DragonFeather and welcome back to day 12 of our 31 days of Samhain, and for today we will be discussing Night Sky Scrying, which is a form of divination that is more involved with the magical mystical wonder of the night and darkness. So that's why we are focusing on this type of divination for our autumn themed challenges, because I find that nighttime scrying and just nighttime activities in general are really enjoyable during this time of year, so I'm very excited to share this with you. But if you guys want to learn more in depth about anything that I cover in this video, anything that has to do with night scrying, more information on how to do it yourself, for more in-depth explanation than I can really go to in like a 10 to 20 minute video, but please go ahead and check out the post in the Hatchling clan made by one of the Hatchlings that goes into depth about all of this and gives you guys even more explanation and direction for doing your own type of night sky scrying. So with that being said, before we get started into what it really is and how you can really do it, I have some questions that you guys can answer before you do this exercise, and then there's some more questions for after you do this exercise. So the questions we have are: have you ever heard of or engaged in night sky scrying before? What kind of results do you expect from this challenge? Do you work with the energies associated with this challenge often, like dark, lunar, celestial, air, astrological, etc.? And do you think the moon phase and constellations present will have any impact on your reading? Do you plan to take these energies into consideration? So those are just some questions to think about and to answer before you actually do this exercise, and I highly recommend writing them down because it's good to have them like at a later reference so you can go back and look at your experience and how you felt, and it's a great thing to write down in your Book of Shadows too if you're unsure of what to do about this. What is Night Sky Scrying? Night Sky Scrying is a form of scrying that is a form of divination where you are looking into the universe for answers. You can often do candle flame scrying, you can do crystal ball scrying, you can do water scrying, but for this particular video we're going to be focusing on using the nighttime sky as a form of scrying and using that as the tool in which to divine messages from. So this is a really awesome practice because you don't need anything to do this but yourself, and it's great for those who may be in the broom closet. You can just go outside and look up at the stars and use that as your form of divination or as your form of scrying for this particular exercise. All you gotta do is really just allow yourself and open yourself to receiving messages from the universe. And I know that that can probably be the hardest step for most of us, is just getting into a state where we're receptive and open and willing to allow ourselves to observe things like the stars or like the moon and see what comes naturally to us in this activity. So that's the main part of what we're doing here, is allowing ourselves to be open enough to receive messages from the nighttime sky. And this particular form of scrying is kind of unique because it encompasses a few different bits of scrying and divination. Like, this particular practice involves Selenomancy, Areomancy, and Astrology, which we're going to get into in a little bit here, but this is a really fun type of divination to do when you don't have any tools. Perhaps you could be with a friend or something, maybe you're not by your altar or whatever. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you have access to the night sky at nighttime, you can perform this type of scrying. So let's break it down and get into the different types that this particular form of scrying entails. So first we have Selenomancy, and this is the art of divination that requires the moon, phases of the moon, and what you can really see on the surface of the moon. And this is a very, very powerful form of divination, especially in my practice, because I love to stare at the moon. Like, whenever I stare at the moon, I get put into a trance very easily, and it's just a very easy tool for me to just look at the moon and like allow myself to be open when I'm under her energies. And when you look at the nighttime sky, you're gonna see the moon probably first and foremost, unless it's a dark moon or pretty close to a dark moon. It'll be a little bit harder to find the moon, but for the most part, the moon is the prominent source of light in the night sky, and so it's a huge focus for nighttime scrying if it's not during the dark moon. You can take whatever you find on the surface of the moon, whatever energies you may be bathed in with the phase of the moon that you're in, And it's really important to take into consideration the phases of the moon when you do night sky scrying, because this can also impact your reading, and this can also influence what messages you receive and what the overall theme is of your reading that you pick up from scrying in the night sky. So next we have Areomancy, and this is a form of divination that has to do with the sky, air, and anything in between. This is a form of scrying that we like to pay an extra close attention to with the clouds. This is a huge part when we're doing night sky scrying, but when we're using the clouds, it's called Nephomancy particularly. So that's the main focus when it comes to Areomancy, but it's also important to take note of like the different changes in the wind that you may feel. I know for me, when I'm scrying outside or when I'm practicing divination outside, the wind is something that I really pay attention to, because it's something that naturally occurs and something that also is full of little whispers and messages if you're open to receiving them. What's the color of the sky, and how does that relate to the message you're trying to receive or the questions you're asking? So all of that you can take into consideration when doing night sky scrying, and more specifically when you're looking at the clouds. What do you see in the clouds? What do the clouds represent for you in the night sky? And how do they translate in your message when it comes to that? So those are some things to keep in mind as well when we're doing our night sky scrying. Lastly, we have astrology that's tied into this as well, which is the art of divination with the stars and the universe itself. It's a very deep and vast topic, and I could make so many videos just on this topic alone, but for this video, I just wanted to cover the fact that what constellations are you influenced by? And astrology is so much more than just your sun sign, your zodiac signs. It's so much more than that. It's about the constellations that are around you, the constellations that inspire you, and how the stars really influence you. And when you're looking at the night sky, which stars or toilets are you most called to? You know what I mean? Which toilets are you most called to? Seriously though. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, which stars speak out the most to you? Which stars are you most attracted to? For me personally, I'm really attracted to Orion's Belt, which is a constellation that I can see where I'm at pretty much all year round. Sometimes I have to look for it, but I usually see it all year round, and it's a constellation that I've always felt really drawn and connected to. I recommend Googling it and doing more research on it, because it can really help you find even deeper meaning into the messages you may receive during your night sky scrying. How do you night sky scry? First, what you're going to do is you're going to find a place outside where you're going to be undisturbed and comfortable enough to go into a trance-like state or into a meditative state for this exercise and activity. And before you do anything else, you're going to want to clear this space, make sure that it has no litter, it's free of trash and kind of grossness. Just kind of tidy up the space a little bit and make it a little more comfortable and homey for you, and then go ahead and invite any gods, goddesses, guardians, guides, ancestors, whoever you wish to have with you for this particular exercise. Call upon them and then cast your circle, or whatever order makes you feel best. However, it's really awesome to cast this circle and to create a space that is sacred for this exercise, for it'll just add that extra little magic to it, so it'll make you even more open and aware to receiving these messages, and to make sure that you are protected when doing so, because sometimes during the night some unwelcome guests like to lurk around and are attracted to people who raise magical energy. So if you don't want to attract any unwanted guests, I highly recommend casting a circle via using a wand, your hand, your mind's eye, perhaps salt and water, literally whatever way makes you feel best, or a casting spray, or whatever works best for you. Cast your circle accordingly. And it depends on where you're at. For me personally, I live in a really light polluted city, so sometimes it's hard to see the night sky. And so for me to do stuff like that, I like to go to parks, and I like to go on the tops of really big hills or on the tops of roofs. So that can be something that you can try if you're in a really populated city area like I am, and there's a lot of light pollution. Sometimes it can be hard to see the stars in the night sky. So find that special place for you that works, and sometimes it just takes a little exploring, but that's okay, that's all good. The main part of this is to relax and enjoy the beautiful sight of the stars in the night sky and the glow of the moon. That is the whole point of this exercise, is to really indulge yourself in the magic and the mystery of the night. And it's something that is so peaceful and can be so peaceful and calming and just refreshing, you know, to just like sit and just absorb the nighttime energy. And sometimes I am addicted to nighttime, and like I love the peace and quiet of the night, and I find that I get more stuff done during that time, and I'm more open for magic during that time. And so when you go outside and you like go with the intention of opening yourself up to the energies and to receiving messages and just enjoy the experience, that's when it's going to be the best. Like, there's no need to overthink this exercise. It is so simple. Literally anyone can do it from anywhere. All you have to have is you, yourself, and all of that. All the magic comes from within you in this particular exercise. And get outside. It's really important to get outside. And I know a lot of people probably stay in their houses at nighttime because it's maybe cold, or maybe, you know, you don't want to get into anything with anyone you don't know. Who knows what it may be, but it's really important to get outside and to let yourself enjoy this experience, and to allow yourself to breathe, and to allow yourself to be open to receiving whatever messages that you may have, and ask any questions you may have. You can just talk to your guardians at this time if that works too, and just, you know, look at the sky, stare at the sky, use the sky as a tool to receive the messages and the answers that you're looking for with your questions. And when you're done, go ahead and thank all of your guardians or whoever you invited into your circle with you, and close your circle, and just make sure that you take any trash that you may have found with you and throw it away at your nearest convenience. Your nearest disposable bin, whatever you want to call it. This is all about having fun, and I highly recommend writing down your experience because it can be really rewarding and really fun to look back at a later time. After you have done this, here are some questions for you to answer after your experience to better understand your messages and to kind of get more in touch with how you feel about the experience as a whole. So, first question is, how was your Night Sky Scrying experience? The next one is, was it easy for you to connect with these elements? And did you consider the moon phase and constellations? If so, how do you feel they impacted your experience? If not, do you think you would have had a completely different experience? And lastly, we have, how likely are you to use Night Sky Scrying in your future divination practices? So if you are interested in learning more about anything that I mentioned in this video, please go check out the post made by one of the Hatchlings in the Hatchling clan, linked below in the video. It's all right there for your easy convenience, and it's so much fun, and we highly encourage you to answer these questions, to try this out, and share your experience with us so we can all learn from each other and all grow together in our community of magical family awesome beings and things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. Sky scrying is something that's just so magical, like inherently magical, and I thoroughly enjoy this exercise, and I hope that you do too, especially for those of you who are in the broom closet who may not be able to build an altar or cast a spell. This is something that you can try as well. So I hope that you guys liked this. I'm sending you endless love and positive vibes always, but until next time, stay geeky, cheeky, and freaky little hatchlings. But until next time, blessed be and bye.
And it's funny that you think that I'm different when we're both